All right, in today's video, I'm gonna walk you through the airdrop opportunity for Ethena Finance, as well as walk you through step-by-step how you can actually start earning shards, which are going to be convertible into the Ethena airdrop. Now, before I get into the actual walkthrough of how you can start earning shards, let's briefly discuss what Ethena Finance is and how big the opportunity could be. So for starters, what actually is it? Well, it's a new type of stable coin that has native yield. So by holding USDE, which is the new Ethena Finance stablecoin, or by staking it for SUSDE, then you earn a yield on that. It's not just like USDC or USDT where it sits flat in your wallet and then you get actually diluted by inflation over time. So the staking yield on this is quite high if you stake it, but even just holding regular USDE has a decent yield on it. And where does that yield come from? Partially, it comes from Ethereum staking. So the capital that is deposited into the Ethena Finance protocol is used to stake Ethereum, and then the yield from that is going back into actual native yield on the USDE. But then another portion of the yield is coming from funding fees and spreads on derivatives. So if we go into the documents for Ethena Finance under yield explanation, there's a breakdown of where it actually comes from. And holding USDE currently yields around 10%. 5% of that is coming from Ethereum staking, and the other 5% is coming from basis arbitrage on these different crypto exchanges. And that 5% basis arbitrage is basically delta neutral, so they're doing delta hedging derivatives, which means that Ethena Finance is basically earning money from these trades whether or not the price is going up or down. So that is where the yield comes from, and that 10% yield goes to people that are just holding USDE. But then if you take that and stake it, you earn a ridiculous yield. Currently, it's at 67.2%. Now, in terms of how big the actual airdrop opportunity is, currently the TVL of Ethena Finance is approaching $1 billion. It's at 849.6 million. So it is a large DeFi protocol. Usually the larger the TVL, the larger the actual value of the token. Then in terms of actually who's behind it, we've got a bunch of some of the biggest names in crypto VC like Dragonfly, Binance Labs, OKX Ventures, Arthur Hayes, and a bunch of other really legit people, Aave as well. The protocol itself has raised a decent amount of money at a very high valuation, $300 million, and their last funding raise was 14 mil. And then finally, they do have a confirmed airdrop. Basically how it works is you deposit into the application in order to earn shards by holding or staking USDE, and then these shards are going to be convertible to the actual Ethena Finance token when it drops. Currently, there's 120.8 billion shards, and that is distributed amongst 38,000 users. Now, obviously, this type of airdrop opportunity privileges people that have a decent amount of capital to allocate to this. And actually, since Ethena Finance is on the Ethereum mainnet, and the gas fees for making deposits and withdrawals and staking and unstaking are quite high, I would not recommend you actually try to pursue this airdrop opportunity unless you have, I would say, at least $1,000 or more to allocate to this. And honestly, anything less than that, when you're making a deposit, you're probably spending 5 to 10% of the actual total amount of your capital just in the fees to do the transaction alone. And while we do hope that the airdrop itself is going to 10x or 100x whatever we spend in transaction fees, of course, there is a risk. And the larger the total percentage of your capital that you're spending on those transaction fees, the less I think it's worth it. So that is the protocol and that is the opportunity. Now, how can you actually participate? Well, there's an airdrop tab right here. You can enter in by putting in an invite code and it will bring you to this Ethena Finance application where you can buy some USDE. Now, there's actually a couple of different ways that you can get exposure to this airdrop. I did it directly through the Ethena Finance application, which I'll walk you through in a second, but you can also access it on Pendle with leverage points. And soon, I believe you'll also be able to use Gearbox Finance to leverage up on USDE as well. Now, while applications like Gearbox and Pendle can be a great way to leverage up your airdrop hunting and to get huge multipliers on the points, or in this case, the shards, I have actually already deposited a solid amount onto Pendle, trying to farm the Eigenlayer and EtherFi airdrops across a couple of wallets. And while I do like this application, I don't want to have too much on one single protocol because there's smart contract risks associated with that. And so in this case, I decided I would actually kind of just stick with working directly with the Ethena Finance application itself. So the way that you buy shards is just by going to app.ethena.fi, and then you can select which token you want to swap. And so in my case, I used USDC. Now, I wanted to get into this actually a while back, but gas fees have been absolutely insane. So if we actually look at the last 30-day trend for Ethereum gas fees, you can see just how high it's been. I really should have got in back here mid-February to the end of February, and I waited too long, and now gas fees have been ridiculously high. So what I was doing was waiting for an opportunity where I could get in with like 30 to 40 GUE instead of something like 60, 70, 100. Because that way I don't have to waste a huge amount of capital on the transaction fees itself. And since you are swapping a ERC20 coin to get USDE, it's going to be a two-step transaction. You're going to have to pay once to actually approve the spending of the token, and then you're going to have to pay again a larger amount to actually make the swap right here. So what I did was wait until Friday night, late at night, and I set two transactions up. One was to approve the spending of all the USDC that I had in my wallet. So you'll see here that I selected the low gas fee option and spent just under $10 to approve the spending of the token first off. Then when that went through, I went to actually confirm the swap of USDC to USDE in my wallet. And in order to do that, I went into MetaMask when the transaction popped up. I went to the advanced section and I custom selected how much gas I wanted to pay, and then I just left it overnight. So what I tried to do was to hit a low fee for GUE, and it was gonna cost me about $40 to do this transaction. Then I just confirmed it and left it overnight. When I woke up the next morning, at some point in the middle of the night, gas fees had gone down low enough in order for my transaction to get in. So now I have some USDE, and that's quite an involved process. It doesn't really matter if you're a whale, but if you want to try and save 20 bucks on the transaction, that's a solid way that you can do it. Otherwise, of course, you can just ape in and pay whatever the market price is for the Ethereum gas fees. And then once you actually have the USDE in your wallet, there's a couple of options. So over here, if we go to the shards tab, this is where you can track how many points you're collecting. Now, I do have to admit here that a decent portion of these total shards is from referrals, because I've previously spoken about this on the channel. However, the way that you actually earn the shards for the Ethena Finance airdrop, if you're just doing this without referrals, is by either just holding the coin in your wallet. So you notice I got a little check mark here because I'm holding the USDE token in my wallet. And for that, I'm getting 5 times the shards per dollar per day. Otherwise, if you want to get these boosts, you can lock the USDE, you can stake it, you can LP it. Now, I'm not going to LP it because there's risks associated with that. However, I am interested in locking the token. So you'll notice that if I lock it up, it's going to give me a 10x shards per day boost. Anyways, for the lock feature, the way that it works is if you just click here, it's going to bring you to a new section of the application where I can select the asset right here, USDE. And if I hit lock, it's going to ask me how many tokens I want to lock. So basically what this is if I lock these tokens up for 7 days minimum, then I will get double the amount of shards. In order to do this, however, it's going to be another two-step transaction because you have to approve the spending of this new token in your wallet and then approve the deposit. So totally up to you whether or not you want to do this. Right now, the gas fees are a little bit high, so I might wait until later and then try to lock these up for at least 7 days and then just keep it locked until I'm ready to withdraw it and get those points boosts. Again, though, even the amount of capital that I'm using here is, I would say, kind of borderline because each transaction really does run up the fees, and you don't want a significant percentage of the total value of your capital getting eaten up essentially in paying transaction fees. So you do have to be careful with that. And then aside from that, you can track your shards in this dashboard here. If you want to stake the tokens, you'll get way fewer shards, but then you get that ridiculously high staked USDE APY. The shards campaign is supposed to last a maximum of 3 months, or when the USDE supply reaches $1 billion. So it's currently $150 billion away from that, but it's going to be split across multiple seasons or epochs. And eventually there's going to be incentives also for bridging to yield focused L2s. So even if you get in now, just as the 1 billion cap is about to be hit, I don't think it's too late because there's going to be more epochs and more points and more airdrops and there's going to be different types of activities that will be incentivized. So yeah, that is the update on Ethena Finance. I wanted to bring this video a little bit earlier. I'm sorry that it took me so long to bring this, but honestly, I've been super busy and ETH gas fees have been killer. If you do want to participate in this, I'll throw my link down below that will give you access and will help out my channel as well if you sign up with my link. So thanks so much for watching and have a great day.